I think one of the first things that a lot of people who are coming to the UK with families, and those especially those who are coming with children under 3 years old, need to bear in mind is that you're going to have a very different experience. Yes, it's different because it's not the same with everybody else, and I'll tell you why it's different, and I'll share a few things to help you in this video. If you're new here, my name is MS Gideon, and do well to subscribe to the YouTube channel because we share tips on migration, on not just how to migrate, but how to thrive in your new country. So I was looking at my dissertation, and then before shutting down for the day, I just thought to do this quick video. It's about 2:59 a.m. So I'll make it very quick. Now, the first thing is what makes it different. I'll share 4 things with you that makes it different. The first one is accommodation. Now, if you're coming into the UK with family and you have children, the accommodation type that you get is different. Yes. So you have to get a family accommodation. But if you come in even as a couple without kids, you can easily just get a shared accommodation and stay there. But if you have kids, you can no longer stay in a shared accommodation. And in fact, some landlords will tell you, "Oh, sorry, the house does not have playground. I can't give it to you because you have kids." Some landlords will tell you, they just find different things to tell you. But they just tell you, many will just tell you it's not conducive for a child. No reasons why, no explanation. They just say it's not conducive. In fact, I remember when I was getting those same stories. So it was really frustrating. But that's the first thing. Accommodation hassle. I stayed outside for 21 days. I stayed in a hotel essentially for 21 days before getting my own accommodation when I came into the UK. So that's the first thing you need to bear in mind. Number two is that the kind of work or your capacity to work is going to be different. So why somebody who is single or without kids can take up essentially any shifts they are available for, right? You can only take up shifts that you are able, that your partner is going to be available to look out for your children, unless of course that job is going to pay you sufficiently to pay for childcare, because childcare cost is not cheap, right? So that's the second thing. So there are many people who come into the UK with children and cannot work just because not just because they have to be on ground to look out for their children. All right. So that's the second thing. Number three is the ease of movement. So I remember I was going under a bus one time, and a woman literally dropped because there was no space for her to put her buggy, that carrier that she used to carry her baby. So yeah, things like that happened, and she had to stay out in the cold and wait for the next bus. So the ease of movement is different now. And then the fourth thing is that if you're single or without kids, a couple without kids, you probably never worry about social services. But the average immigrant that come to the UK with family have to unconsciously, they have to think about social services. So you find people worrying, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing something wrong? Because we hear so many stories of people who had their children removed from them, who had their children retrieved by the government, and they're wondering, okay, what am I? Hope I'm not doing something wrong. Hope I'm not making a mistake. These are real issues that you have to be aware of if you're coming to the UK with family, especially with children under 3 years old. What tips can help you stay not just afloat but thrive within this time? Because while it's challenging, people are doing it, so you can do it too. The first tip I'll share with you is you have to be intentional as a parent. You have to be an intentional parent. If you're coming from Africa or India, many times you're coming from a place where you have family support, community support to look out for your children. But when you just come into the UK, it's not going to be the case, because this system is a lot more individualized than where you're coming from. So what that means is that there's almost nobody has time to just sit down, help you look at your children, right? So you have to, that's your responsibility. So you have to take your parenting role very seriously. and start asking questions like, what values do I want to inculcate into my children? What do I want to teach them? These are real parenting questions that you have to be intentional about, right? And even better if you start now. If you've not already started thinking about them, the earlier the better, right? Now, and also, still on being intentional as a parent, if you're a couple, if you're a married couple, you have to work together with your spouse. So whether you're male or female, for example, in my case, I'm the student, so essentially I'm the primary carer for our baby, right? So what this means is you can't say I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the woman. I can't. You have to work collaboratively to look out for your family. If you are going to come to the UK and you want to drive here, so that's something you must bear at the back of your mind. Having said that, that's number one. Number two is you have to, as soon as you come in here, strive to be an active part of a community. Now, I'm a Christian, so if you're a Christian, the first thing, join a church actively. Don't just be a bench warmer. Join the church actively. Participate in the community. If you're a Muslim, go to your mosque and be active there. So this is the first thing, right? Then, why do I recommend that? Because information goes around in communities. Information travels many times in communities, and your being in this community will give you an extra edge of support. All right. For your family, you will meet new people there. You see people who have similar values there, and they can share their experience with you and guide you on how to go about some things that you may not have known, right? So the third thing rather. So number one is being intentional. Number two is joining the community or being an active member. The third thing you need to pay attention to is build meaningful relationships. So you generally will struggle if you just play by yourself, and the reason is because there are a few information, some support that other people could give you. You'll be missing out on that if you just travel alone, if you just keep to yourself and not build meaningful relationships. Now, when you already find people with similar values or similar challenges, reach out to support those people. That's one way to build relationships, right? Yeah. But generally giving support to other people who need support makes it easy for them to also reach out and support you in a day when you also need support. So that's something to bear in mind. The next thing, which is probably the most important, is that pray. You should pray. Now, I won't deceive you to tell you that you can do it by yourself. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. You're working on schoolwork, you're trying to work shift, and then you have a toddler or baby to look out for. Sometimes it can be very overwhelming on couples, right? But prayer changes things. Prayer makes it easy for you. Just seeing God's face and allowing God to help you on the journey goes a long way, right? So these are the few tips I thought to share with you. If you found this video useful, share it with those who you know are coming to the UK or are in the UK with children. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, do well to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll be very happy to answer you as much as I can. That's it from this video. God bless you.